Hello everyone, and welcome to another special episode of the Financial Insight Show. I'm your host for this special interview, Mwelwa Kenneth, and I am in Lusaka, Zambia, at the WWF Zambia HQ, where I'm about to have an interesting conversation with the country head, Madam Nalucha Ziba. Nalucha, how are you?
I'm well, thank you, and great to have you.
No, thank you so much for having us. I mean, we've long wanted to have us sit down with you, and though the year has gone by quite a bit, it looks like you guys have been very busy.
Yes, we've been very busy as an office, but also generally as the WWF family.
Absolutely. Now, this is the first time we're having you on our platform. Are you able to just share with our viewers who you are in terms of your role itself and anything of interest that the public would be keen on knowing about you?
Okay, thank you. As already introduced, my name is Nalucha Nganga Ziba, and I'm the country director for WWF Zambia. And I've been in this role for the past 10 months. And by profession, I'm a trained lawyer as well as international public policy specialist, as well as a gender specialist. And I've been working in the international development space for the last 20 years across the sub-Saharan Africa. So I started off working as a programs officer in a women's rights organization and worked my way through in the international development space.
Wonderful, wonderful. Anyway, this is why it's going to make this conversation even more interesting. We're obviously visiting you on the back of the release of two interesting reports. And are you just able to just tell us about what these reports are before we get into the Q&A?
Thank you, Mwelwa. So we have released two interesting reports as WWF globally. The first one is the Living Planet report, which basically does give an overview on the status of biodiversity across the globe, and especially in the over 100 countries where WWF has presence. So you can find that report on our pages as well as social media pages, and you will be able to see the global picture, but also the Zambian picture. And the second report that we have released is the sustainability report in terms of financial regulations for oversight institutions such as the Bank of Zambia. And it's also quite an interesting report in the sense that it looks at the reporting, sustainability reporting frameworks for private sector, and also tries to put a light on them in terms of how they are doing and how they are faring. And therefore, with that report, we will realize that our colleagues in the global north seem to be doing fine as compared to the reporting which is happening in the global south. So that also speaks to the number of issues which could be technical capacities, but also financial constraints.
Interesting. So anyway, let's get into it.
Yes.
So, Nalucha, we've obviously gotten a hold of these two reports, and we obviously just wanted to just dig a little bit deeper. But we'll start with the one that deals with the financial regulation, which is being called the SUSREG report. Given some of the key findings show that 7 out of 10 biodiversity hotspot nations are lagging in banking supervision for nature-related risks, how is Zambia working to integrate environmental and social considerations into its financial regulatory framework, particularly in relation to sectors such as agriculture, mining, and any other sectors?
Thank you. So you realize that through policies such as the National Green Growth Strategy, a comprehensive framework has been designed to align Zambia's developmental pathways with the principles of sustainability and inclusivity, which centers around 4 pillars. One is resilient and climate growth compatibility. Then we're also looking at enhanced resource efficiency and also enhanced natural capital and improved inclusivity, as well as, and additionally to this, it provides a roadmap for achieving Zambia's vision, which is well stipulated in the 8th National Development Plan, but also in the Sustainable Development Goals. So therefore, we are seeing that yes, as WWF and its partners, we are actively working to integrate environmental and social considerations into financial regulatory framework. And this is dependent also on the aligning to national regulations, as well as global international standards frameworks that emphasize nature-related risks. The integration involves enhancing banking supervision and policies, especially to address issues to do with deforestation, as well as fresh water and biodiversity loss. Also, efforts are also focused on creating financial incentives for sustainable practices, as these are very key to the sectors.
Interesting. But then also the report is showing that there's social risks that remain inadequately managed across financial regulations globally. What specific steps is your country office taking to advocate for better integration of social safeguards in the country's financial sector?
So we have different scales of partnerships within the financial sector. So under our green finance pillar, we are currently working with ABSA under a plant a million tree, where we are working with them to look at reforestation of forests in more districts and also improving the livelihoods of the people. But also working with Standard Bank, we are working to secure the source of the Zambezi River in Ipileng district. And it's through such innovations that you can see that there are activities that the WWF is working on, which are helping to improve environmental and social safeguards frameworks, which is the institutional mechanisms that we manage as an institution for us to be able to determine social risks that may come through.
Okay. Now, obviously, we do understand that Zambia, when it comes to the wealth index, we're very low, and considering high-income countries are showing stronger climate commitment in banking supervision. What challenges does Zambia face in accessing resources and technical support to strengthen its sustainable finance frameworks?
Okay, so Zambia faces significant challenges in terms of accessing resources and technical support to strengthen its sustainability finance frameworks. One of the main obstacles is that there is lack of sufficient funding and technical expertise to develop comprehensive nature-based or nature-related risk models and reporting frameworks. And also, high-income countries have access to more advanced technologies as well as financing. So these are some of the areas where we have seen that are disadvantaging us as a country, which puts developing nations such as ours at a disadvantaged position. Additionally, as a country, we must navigate the complexities of the global financial standards while addressing the unique socioeconomic challenges that it comes with it.
Right. Now, just a final question around that. We do know that central banks play a very important role. How is the WWF Zambia engaging with the Central Bank of Zambia and local financial institutions to direct financing away from environmentally harmful activities, particularly given the global estimate is about 7 trillion in harmful subsidies?
So we do work with the central banks, such as the Bank of Zambia, to look at how we can support them in redirecting harmful incentives that will harm the environment, but also given the global estimate that discourages investments in sustainable sectors. The global estimate is around $7 trillion in harmful subsidies. Therefore, WWF Zambia is working to raise awareness and advocate for policy reforms and that prioritizes sustainable investments. This includes promoting a transition to a green finance by influencing lending practices across the country.
Wonderful. So to all of us, thank you so much for sharing the first part. So stay tuned for the next episode where I'll be asking about questions on the other report. It must be a very interesting balancing act, especially when we look at food systems. And we understand that, from the report, that considering food systems use 40% of habitable land and is the leading cause of habitat loss, what initiatives is WWF Zambia undertaking to promote sustainable agriculture while protecting critical ecosystems in the country?
So what we're doing around sustainable agriculture and protecting ecosystems is that working with communities as well as with government departments such as the forestry department, is that we have been working to establish community structures as well as strengthening them, such as the village action groups as well as the CFMGs. So these ones then trained on various, not just governance of those groups, but also on sustainable practices which then protects the land as well as the ecosystem. So what this halve does is that even at village level, they are able to look at which land can they use for agriculture and also what are the sustainable agriculture practices that they are using. So most of them, we are training them in climate resilient agriculture using agroecological methods as well as agroforestry methods, where we are able to see that not only are they venturing into agriculture, which then provides destruction to the land, but they are also able to grow trees in there. They are also able to grow their food using organic fertilizers as opposed to modern fertilizers, which also tend to have an effect not only on the soils but also on the biodiversity as at large.
Right. Now, on final question, with the report emphasizing that the next 5 years are critical for the planet's future, what are WWF Zambia's top priorities for 2024 to 2029, and how do you plan to engage key stakeholders like government, private sector, and local communities in achieving these goals?
So in terms of our key priorities for us is to halve the loss of biodiversity, and in doing so we are working through various projects and using the landscape approach, where we are building partnerships with communities, with private sector, as well as with the traditional leadership and the government in conservation. And in so doing, we are supporting community groups so that they are able to buy into our conservation vision and mission, where we want to see a Zambia where everybody is able to live in harmony with nature. And part of that work is also going to roll out as we develop our next conservation strategy, which will run for the next 5 years. And in that development, what we have done is we are undertaking consultations even at community level as well as at various levels, which will support us in terms of refining and ensuring that our priorities are contextualized to what is needed for the country. So yes, it's halving the loss of biodiversity, but also it's ensuring that areas, landscapes where we're working, we're able to see ecosystems protected, such as fresh water, as we know that one of the major causes of this drought, and which has also caused a bit of discomfort to most Zambians, has been the shortages of water, and we're seeing issues of water security at the center of the challenges that we are facing as a country. From a gender perspective, climate change and shortages of water have led to women to increase burden of care, where we see women walking longer distances and putting them also in conflict with wildlife, in terms of human-wildlife conflict, as they continue to look for livelihoods. But in response to that, we are looking at how then we support and promote sustainable food systems at country level, and also how are we going to ensure that we bring in the voices of young people, that is the youth, as well as women, who usually tend to take a back role. But also we are looking at ensuring that we support communities around building water recharge points and protecting and conserving those. So what does that entail is that we ensure that communities are not encroaching or destroying those, but they are protected, so that at the end of the day, the country is able to enjoy good rainfall, but also we are able to see balanced climatic conditions that are able to support both human life and wildlife.
Nalucha, thank you so much, for sharing the insights, and I personally have learned quite a lot about what's in the report. We will continue to dig into the other political matters, so we can bring out a lot more issues. But maybe just finally, who is the report targeted towards? Obviously, going forward, you did mention a number of key stakeholders, but who would you like to encourage to read this report?
So for this report, we would say it's really targeting at oversight institutions, like I said, people working in the banking and financial sectors, but also the general public. So it's important for even the general public to read it for Zambians, so they have a better understanding in terms of how we're faring as a country, but also what are some of the practices that are out there and how other countries are faring.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, we definitely look forward to assisting WWF in in promoting this, because we do understand we're just a couple of weeks before COP29 this year. So I think it is important. So there you referred it for yourself. I've been speaking to the country head for WWF Zambia, who's given us insights on the 2 reports that are available on the WWF Zambia portals. I've been Mwelwa Kenneth Chibesakunda at the WWF offices in Lusaka, Zambia. Stay tuned for more insights and get to know.